Hi, I'm Chris from Pivot Cycles, and we're here today to talk about the new Trail 429. Many of you guys know that we already had the Mach 429 Trail, and we've changed up the name slightly with an all-new bike, fitting into that same category. The previous Mach 429 Trail had 116 millimeters of travel, designed for a 130 millimeter travel front fork. We didn't really vary too much from that formula. It's worked well for us, and it's a great category. With the new bike, we've gone to 120 millimeters of travel in the rear, stayed with the 130 millimeters in the front. The new bike can take up to 140 millimeter travel fork, but beyond that, everything on the bike has really evolved and changed and taken what was best from the Mach 429 Trail and really taken it all to a new level. The thing that made the Mach 429 Trail so great is it's such a versatile bike. People were able to race it as a cross-country bike and then take it into almost a park setting. With the new bike, we really feel like we've expanded the abilities of the bike in both directions. So the new Trail 429 has much shorter chain stays than the original, with at 430 millimeters, just under 17 inches. The old one was about 17 1/4 on that. The other side of things are the reaches got a lot longer. So the new Trail 429 actually now has the same reach measurements as the new Mach 5.5, as well as the Switchblade models. So it gets you in that longer positioning, but with the shorter chain stays, you don't have an excessive growth in the wheelbase. We also go to a much steeper seat angle at close to 74 degrees and a 67 1/4 degree head angle on the bike. A couple of things that haven't changed on the bike is the previous version was able to accept both 29-inch wheels and plus wheels. In the previous version, it was primarily designed as a 29-inch bike. With the new version and adjustments to the geometry, primarily the steeper seat angle and a slightly taller bottom bracket height, we're able to accommodate both wheel sizes better. So with the plus wheel setup on the bike, we still offer the 17 millimeter cup that raises the bottom bracket height about 3/8 of an inch and still keeps the seat angle at about a half a degree slacker, 73 1/2 degrees approximately. All right, so we've done a few other really cool things with the design of the new Trail 429. This bike actually is our first ever one-by optimized bike. So there's no front derailleur compatibility on the new model, but what that's allowed us to do is go to a much wider lower link on the bike, which increases stiffness, allows us to get the stays out a little bit more, get more tire clearance. It also enabled us to go to a double upright design like we have on some of our longer travel bikes. This also aids stiffness and control on the back end of the bike. And then, similar to what we did on the Switchblade, we've now gone to Super Boost Plus on the Trail 429. For those of you who don't know what Super Boost Plus is, it is basically the idea of we take the rear triangle from 148 millimeters to 157 millimeters, and we move the front sprocket out slightly as well to keep the drivetrain in the proper position, but without affecting the positioning of the cranks or anything else on the bike. So the end result of that is that we're able to get these shorter chain stays, a stiffer frame, and really massive tire clearance for the category. It's enabled us to really optimize for both wheel sizes. The stock build in 29-inch wheels comes with the new Recon wide trail 2.4-inch tire on the rear and a Minion 2.4-inch wide trail on the front. In plus wheels, we retain the same wheel set as what we've got on the Switchblade model, 40 millimeter wide rims with Recon 2.8-inch tires. In either configuration, you've got great tire clearance, the ability to ride in muddier conditions and have the bike shed the mud without issue, or the ability to run slightly bigger tires if that's what you choose to do, while keeping the super short chain stay length. Okay, so while I'm on the subject of Super Boost Plus, time to nerd out just a little bit. I like to really go into the numbers because they're pretty significant on the stiffness, not only on the frame, but what it does for the overall wheel stiffness. So when we talk about traditional, what used to be when we first went to through axles, 142 millimeter spacing, Boost took it to 148, basically spread the width of the hub out a little bit more and changed the spoke angle and allowed the wheel to get stiffer. When we did a lot of testing with DT Swiss, and when going from a 142 to a 148 rear hub spacing, there was a 16% stiffness increase at the rim. when going from 142 to 157 in our Super Boost design, stiffness increased 46% at the rim. That's a 30% stiffness increase over Boost. That might sound like excessive to some people. Why do I need 46% more stiffness? But to put it in perspective, that's about the gain that we got on the front wheel went from going from non-boost to boost, from 100 to 110 millimeters. So if you think about the balanced wheel stiffness, same number of spokes on the front and rear wheel, having the wheels match in stiffness, but also the rear wheel actually takes oftentimes considerably more load than the front wheel. And especially if you're a bigger rider, you can instantly notice that stiffness gain. If you're riding a bike without high-end carbon wheels, you get the stiffness of a high-end carbon wheel. So you don't always have to go for the big bucks and get the nice carbon rims, and an alloy that's of similar weight can actually perform at a similar level. So all in all, Super Boost Plus gives us an increase in wheel stiffness, an increase in frame stiffness, allows us to shorten the chainstays, and gives us more tire clearance without widening the cranks or doing anything from an ergonomic standpoint that would affect the rider's performance on the bike. So another thing that we're really excited about with the new Trail 429 is the cable routing on the bike. The previous version of the bike had external routing running along the down tube, which made it very easy to change out cables, but we've gotten a lot of feedback over time that customers really like the look and the function of our pivot cable port system. So we've brought that to the new Trail 429 with the pivot cable port system here, internal routing through the chainstay, down tube, everything in the front triangle. So that cleans things up nicely, brings that same type of look and feel as all the other pivot carbon bikes in the lineup. So the suspension on the Mach 429 trails is obviously DW Link, like all our pivot full suspension bikes, and it's always one of the shining traits of whatever bike we've done, because the suspension on all our models really lends to our reputation for a wide range of capability on the bikes, and the new Trail 429 is no different in that we always want to have bikes that pedal extremely well in their category, but then in descending really push well beyond the category. And with the Trail 429, we're really proud of what we've done with this one. We go to a metric length shock on the bike, which actually gives us a little bit more volume to work with, and a little longer shock eye to eye, a little bit more stroke than what we had on the old bike. It also opens up capabilities for shock options on the bike as well. So there's a new linkage, a little bit wider, a little bit burlier than what was on the previous generation bike. And the stock shock continues to be a new float DPS, also in that same metric length that gives us that volume. But for those riders wanting to have a more aggressive trail bike, we now have an option to go to a float DPX2 as the upgrade. A DPX2 gives you more float X2 downhill bike type performance, more adjustability, and basically handles heat better than a standard DPS because of the additional oil volume in the shock. Front of the bike, we retain the 130 millimeter Fox 34, great all-around fork. The bike can actually handle up to 140 millimeter travel fork in either a Fox 34 or a Fox 36. Frame is built to handle the loads of the bigger fork, no problem. And we went with the 34 because of the lightweight nature of the bike and handling a wider range of capabilities. Again, kind of more skewed towards the XC trail end of things as opposed to trying to build an enduro bike out of the new Trail 429. Not that it's not capable of handling some of that, but we already have enduro bikes in our line. So this creates that nice balance of what we really think the widest range of riders are doing with their bikes, and combined with the 29-inch wheels or the plus wheels, being able to handle the widest range of terrain. So talk a little bit about sizing of the bikes. This is pretty cool. On the previous version, we went down to a small size, and as most people have seen, we were able to, with the new Mach 5.5 and the new Switchblade, go down to an extra small size. The extra small, like we did with the Switchblade, features a flatter top tube to really get that standover height down. In fact, the standover on the new extra small Trail 429 is about the same as what we're running on the Mach 4 small. So it's really low standover, really compact bike. Geometry is adjusted specifically for the extra small bike, so even slightly steeper seat angle, slightly slacker head angle to get that wheelbase back out to match the type of handling and performance of some of the other sizes. So really optimized for those smaller riders, just over 5 foot to about 5'4", 5'5", that really didn't have a great trail bike 29er option for them in the past. So the new Trail 429 is available in 3 levels of builds in either SRAM or Shimano, so a total of 6 level. We have race level builds, pro level builds, and team level builds. The bikes shown here are both our pro level builds with carbon wheel upgrades, and this particular one is our Pro XT-XTR build, carbon wheel upgrade, and the Fox Float DPX2 upgrade. The price ranges in the bikes between race and the top level team build is between $47.99 and $87.99 retail, and with the new Trail 429 all builds come with dropper posts. Just like the old Mach 429, we're really aiming this bike at being able to handle both the cross country end of the spectrum all the way on up to pretty aggressive trail. We're based here near South Mountain. We've got a pretty famous trail named National Trail that's got high level riding, usually a trail best attacked with a 150 millimeter travel plus bike. We did a lot of testing on the Trail 429 on that trail, but also on the XC spectrum as well. I raced a prototype of the bike this year at the old Pueblo. I was actually able to switch off laps between this and my Mach 429 SL. And there had been a lot of rain the week prior up until race day, and a lot of the areas of the course had good rain ruts running across them. There's a lot of kind of G-out type dips in the back half of the course, and amazingly, it was actually my first lap was on the 429 SL, my second lap was on the Trail 429, and my Trail 429 lap time was slightly faster than that on the SL. We had very high finishes in the pro level ranks on the 429 SL, so we know that's a capable bike. And this one has proven to be equally capable in marathon type events as well, and then being able to shred on the really steep stuff. So keeping that XC capability and then really being able to open it up on the most technical trails that I and the other people here at Pivot like to ride as well.